Cowbird by Jae Ess. Chapter 20. The Attraction. Hugh. Given the unorthodox way in which we met and became close, perhaps Frances imagines she does not know me, but that thought couldn't be further from the truth. I kept my identity from her out of protocol. I have no friends in particular, and few thoughts that do not pertain immediately to my job. Perhaps that's why it was so easy for me to become fixated on her. When I left Solaria to come to Porter Estate, I had no particular feelings about the post. Guarding the estranged bastard princess was to be a job like any other, though perhaps a bit more enjoyable for its security and the added bonus that I'd get to work on automobiles as a front, which is my only real hobby. When I met my predecessor Earl, I was instantly struck by his lack of professionalism, by his obvious feeling for the girl. Then I reasoned. He was an old man, and he'd watched her grow up. It made sense that he would have become attached to her over the years. After listening to him speak of her for a while, we spied her walking in the yard, and Earl called her over to introduce us. A woman in her mid-20s, she was about as tall as I expected, head and shoulders above most women, the same way the king was above most men. She had Leon's dark hair and soulful, pitch-black eyes, and uncommonly pale skin that stood out starkly against her dark clothing. Striking was my first impression. She had the kind of face that made you do a double take to be sure you saw it right the first time. Not ugly, but not like anyone else I'd ever seen either. And then she smiled. Brilliantly, completely. It was like a child's smile, filled with shameless, unbridled enthusiasm and affection for the man she'd come to see. She was carrying something behind her back. "Earl, look at this. It's a rubber dachshund," she said, producing the toy and pulling it between her hands so the wiener dog got even longer, and she giggled adoringly. "It stretches." Frances was laughing, so she didn't hear me snort at her gag, but I heard myself, and I clammed up instantly, mortified. I didn't mean to do it. Really, after everything I've done and seen in my time as an agent, I didn't think I had much of a sense of humor left. But somehow, completely unbidden, she brought it out of me with the unexpected appearance of a stretchy wiener dog. Earl chuckled with fatherly affection and laid a familiar hand on her arm. "My dear girl, let me introduce Samuel Withers. He's going to be taking over my position." "Oh." She made a quiet sound, and her nervous gaze flew to me. I lifted my cap and bowed slightly, eyes never once leaving her face. "Miss Porter." "It's a pleasure to meet you, Samuel." "Sam will do, Miss Porter," I decided on the spot, preferring a shorter-sounding alias. Her demeanor changed after that, with the reminder of Earl's imminent retirement. I got the impression she was keeping a stiff upper lip, holding back her tears in front of my predecessor, and I understood her love for him was mutual. Though it was a golden, late summer noon, I remember thinking how cold she looked, how incredibly lonely. "She plays piano in the annex, usually after dark," Earl told me later. I wasn't too worried about it. Mr. Porter was aware of my situation as his adopted daughter's bodyguard, and he had a special chauffeur he kept on call for when the other ladies wanted to go into town, so I could more or less adjust myself to Frances's sleeping schedule. The night Earl left, I became aware of her movement outside, and immediately guessed her destination to be the annex. I'm not sure what I was expecting as I followed her, and took up a station just beyond the big windows. Some pretty tinkling, perhaps, or just a light, airy melody. I was startled by the first black chord that rang through the clear night air. She hit the keys like the devil himself, descending the stairs to hell. It was so shocking, so incredibly discordant that at first I couldn't tell whether she was a musician or a lunatic. But as the hours of her song stretched on, I began to have a clearer picture, not just of my client and her obvious skill with the instrument, but of her agonized emotional state. That night I learned a little of how deeply troubled she was, and what it meant for this lonely woman to lose Earl, the only friend she had left on the estate. I began looking forward to her nightly visits to the annex. It was fascinating, listening to her dramatic songs. Her dark passion stood in direct contrast to my cold, stoic professionalism, and it mystified me. I couldn't relate, couldn't understand her emotionalism at all, and yet I could. Because I spent so much time watching her, even in those few short weeks I came to understand her better than anyone else in that house. I understood her misery and her solitude. I understood the delight she took in small things, in her collection, in her time alone at the piano. Things changed after I caught Harrison's squire trying to snipe her. I had to kill him, and this clever, determined woman very nearly caught me more than once. We got closer after that, spent more time together, started speaking more familiarly, and I fell for her. Hard. I can't say when it happened exactly. I can't say when guarding Frances became more than just a job to me, or when her smile became more important than anything else. She pushed me to the edge with her kiss the other night. I very nearly forgot myself and committed a grossly unprofessional act. I was fortunate. Mr. Porter's timely arrival kept me from making an even bigger mistake. But Frances was hurt. She couldn't understand my rejection, and I couldn't explain to her why. Not without betraying the secret I'd sworn to protect. When I think just yesterday she'd been preparing to leave me forever, I could be sick. It's clear to me now my feeling for this woman runs even deeper than I'd like to admit. But what am I supposed to do about it? She's the king's daughter, and I'm just her bodyguard. Let's get married, Hugh. I still can't get over the way my name sounds on her lips. It bewitches me, makes me imagine things I shouldn't. Like any of this could ever work between us. I don't care if I'm the princess. Let's get married. There's no reason we can't. It's too soon to say that. I run a hand through my messy bedhead. You have no idea what your future will look like in the capital. You may need to make a political marriage. You may even become queen. Absolutely not. No way in hell they're making me queen, she says definitively. And I'm not marrying some foreign diplomat. It's you or nobody. I stare at her, befuddled, exasperated. But I can't quite hide my fondness for this woman, nor my desire. Frances lowers her big, dark eyes, and spots of red appear in her cheeks. Don't, she murmurs. Don't what? When you look at me like that, she glances up shyly, it turns my insides all to jelly. Hell. I can't help my body's response to her innocent confession of desire. I can't fight a single thing this woman does to me. Why does she have to be exactly my type? Not just her personality, but her body too. With her little waist, generous hips, and her great big boobs, she's every red-blooded man's fantasy, and she doesn't even know it. Just then Frances gets a determined sort of look, and my heart thuds a warning signal in my chest. She gets on her hands and knees and starts crawling towards me. I lean back on my hands in a futile attempt to escape her sudden attack, but she follows me, practically flattening me against the bed with the full length of her body. For God's sake, Frances, I gasp as she brings her face within an inch of mine. Get a hold of yourself. You're the Princess of Ritonia, can't you understand that? No, I can't understand it. I can't let her do this. I have to make her see. You're too important to do this with someone like me. Then stop me, if you hate it so much. You're going to get me in trouble. I want to get you in trouble. Like she did that night in the garage, Frances presses a clumsy, experimental kiss to my lips. I find the taste of her so unbelievably sweet, like candy. Your whiskers are coarse, she complains, lingering just above me. But your mouth is. I swallow painfully. So hot. She starts to move in for another kiss, and it takes all the self-control I possess to lightly grip the back of her neck, causing her to falter. We can't, I say firmly. Hugh. Her eyes well with tears at my refusal, and they hit me like a punch to the gut. I have a responsibility to you, to this country. I'm bringing you back to Solaria intact. With all of you intact, I say meaningfully, and her face flushes adorably. That is my job. And after the job's done? After that, what? Could there really be a future for us? I wish there could be. God knows how badly I wish it. But, realistically, my grip tightens just a bit on the back of her neck as I will her to understand. Frances. As if anticipating my words, her eyes well with tears once again. All my life I've been the cowbird. No one's ever wanted me. Now you tell me I'm a princess with some kind of grand responsibility, but those people won't want me either. Not as anything more than a figurehead. And even then I'm sure I will never live up to their expectations. You were the first person, she says, her tears spilling over onto my face and the pillow. The first person that saw and accepted the real me. You were the one that made me feel like maybe I deserved to be loved, to be happy. I can't do it anymore. Maybe a stronger man could bear it, but I cannot. To lie here and watch the woman I love cry when it's in my power to comfort her. I can't do it anymore. I shift beneath her, throwing her off balance. She tumbles into bed beside me and I lean over her. I feel my rough, severe expression transformed by tenderness as I lift a hand to caress her cheek. You deserve to be loved, Frances. No one has ever loved me. She chokes, tears streaming. No one has ever wanted me. I want you, I say. And the words recall me to the night not so long ago in the annex, where I held her and uttered that exact phrase. Just 3 little words, barely significant. So why do I get the impression they're saving her life? Only that, she sobs, shaking her head as her arms circle around me. I don't need anything but that. Not money, not status, nothing else. Only want me. Stay by my side, Hugh, and never leave me. I can't hold back anymore. My kiss is sudden and ferocious. Like before when we kissed in the garage, I'm taken aback by the strength and depth of my own need. I'm so hungry for her. I feel like I've been starving for her my entire life. Her arms tighten around me. Her mouth opens hungrily and our kiss deepens. Some instinct she has yet to fully understand sends her body arching upwards to meet mine, and I groan with irrepressible desire. She has no idea what she does to me. Hugh, she gasps when I finally pull away from her. Hugh. All right, I say, dropping my head down on the pillow beside her to stop myself from kissing her again. I can't fight you anymore. You win. Hugh, I love you, Frances. I've always loved you. Everything about you, everything you are, from the very beginning. Don't tease me, she says, tears in her voice, and I lift myself to kiss her again, tenderly, sincerely. I was aware of you from the moment we were introduced. Not as a client I was assigned to protect, but as a woman. You weren't like anyone else I'd ever met. You were so smart, so passionate, so different. So ugly, you mean? No, I say firmly. Never ugly. So big. Big compared to whom? I ask her seriously. To me, you're just the right size. But I'm shaped funny, all lumpy and curvy. Not like the girls in magazines at all. Woman, I growl at her, running my hand briefly down the side of her perfect hourglass figure, stopping to squeeze her generous backside so she squeaks faintly in surprise. This big curvy body of yours drives me insane. Her dark eyes grow wide with wonder and disbelief. She's so cute, like an innocent little lamb. I grin wolfishly down at her, more tempted than she could ever imagine to undress her right here and see all of it for myself. But no, not here, not like this. We'll do it properly and marry when we get to Solaria. Then we'll take the marriage certificate to her uncle, showing him and the rest of the world we have a life of our own and no intentions of ruling over Ratonia. This should stop any further attempts on her life, and hopefully those fools from Kurtzrift will leave her alone once and for all. Then I'll quit my job in the Secret Service, and she and I will catch the first boat to Egypt, where we'll spend the rest of our lives together, happily ever after. That is my plan for running away with her, this woman I've come to love more than my own life. And that's really all I have to say.